Justice O'Connor, I think probably the most important thing to know about her background was that she grew up on a working ranch. And so from a very young age, she was expected to shoulder a lot of responsibilities on the ranch. So she grew up with a great appreciation for hard work, for manual labor, if you will, and for the importance of doing what you say you're going to do, and no excuses. So I think her growing up on a ranch was a huge part of building her into the enormously successful person that she became. There's a wonderful story in her book about growing up the Lazy Bee Ranch, and she tells a story where she had been asked to bring lunch out to the cowboys who were working, and to drive the car out to do that. And the car ran into problems, and she stopped and was able to fix them herself. Got to the lunch site. She was very proud of herself that she'd been able to fix the car and get lunch out there, but she was late. And her father said, "I'm sorry, the guys had to go back to work. Next time be on time." And so the justice, in telling that story, said she learned from a very early age that sometimes it's not enough just to try hard, that when there are deadlines, you need to meet them. When people are counting on you, that you need to be able to deliver. And she was a graduate of Stanford Law School. She graduated at the very top of her class, and even despite her credentials, was not able to get a job at the time as a lawyer. She was offered positions as a legal secretary, but is even one of the top graduates of Stanford Law a job. So she actually had to go out and basically create her own path and make her own way. So there's a great story about that's actually been a big inspiration to me in my own career. So she actually went to a lawyer who had a practice, and she said, "I will work for you without pay for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, if you say you don't need me or want me, we're done, but give me a chance." And she said, "And you don't even have to give me an office or a desk. I will sit out where the secretaries sit." And even beyond that, she asked the secretaries if they would mind if she sat with them. And the man gave her that shot, and she succeeded. And that, to me, just says so much about her character, and how she never made excuses. That's a great question. I think probably she liked the intellectual aspects of it, the reading and the researching and the writing, and also the fact that it's a very practical profession, and you have an opportunity to help people as a lawyer, to be a person of influence. And I think probably all of those are things that would have attracted Justice O'Connor to the study of law. I think it influenced her in that she really put a lot of importance on working hard. And she's said before, it's great to be the first, but you don't want to be the last. And I think she, if anything, put more expectations on herself and was committed to work as hard as she needed to be able to not just accomplish the goals she set for herself, but the expectations that she knew others had on her as a first. Well, I don't know if I'd call him a mentor, but I'd be remiss in talking about the justice if I didn't mention her husband, John O'Connor. I think of the many achievements in the justice's life, as great as they are, sort of her achievement in terms of her family and her marriage were just as inspiring to me as someone who had the great privilege of getting to work with her at the court. Mr. O'Connor was also a lawyer. They met in law school also. He was also at Stanford Law. And I think in many ways they really were a team, and they supported each other and worked with each other. I would say, I don't know if it necessarily influenced her decision to serve, but I think it gave her a very helpful background in, as a judge, one of your jobs is to look at a law and to interpret it and say what it means. And she'd also had the experience on the front end of it, on being a legislator and being involved in passing laws. So I wouldn't say that influenced her decision in terms of reading any particular statute, but I think it gave her some experience and background that a lot of judges may not have in how a law comes to be, or how statute comes to be enacted. I think probably the greatest challenge was she was path breaking. She was one of the first. There weren't a lot of examples for her to follow, and I think that was both daunting, but I think also exciting for her to be able to make her own path. I admire her grit. I admire her confidence in herself, her willingness to work hard and not let a lack of opportunities that others were willing to offer her to restrict her sense of the contributions that she could make and how she could play an important role in her profession.